Welcome to another installment of the Mastercam studio at Prototech. This exclusive video series features the exceptional functionality found only within Mastercam, the #1 most widely used cam software in the world. Here's the topic of today's video.
Today we're going to talk about the wrap function for transition moves in a multi-axis machine. Let's go ahead and get started.
In this example, I have a part with a few holes to process. I set this part up in a 5-axis trunnion, and we're going to use our new chamfer drill tool path to do this. So we have these holes in green here that we're going to process. Now I have some stuff done already on this part. I have it processed for some roughing and some finishing. A nice easy way to visualize what you have left over is to create a stock model. So I have a stock model created in this file. Once we look at this, we can get a better visual representation of possible collisions we might have in these transition moves. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our transition moves that we had previous to 2021 Mastercam. In this illustration here of machine simulation, we're going to see that we get very high retracts in between each drilling point for safety reasons, and this is the way it worked previous to Mastercam 2021. As we watch this, we're going to see the tool retracting, and once we get to an index in the machine, we'll see it retract, and there's a lot of space wasted right here and a lot of time. So instead of doing it this way, which is a safe way, we're going to go ahead and we're going to make some edits to our tool path to use the wrap function that they added in 2021 Mastercam. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. In all of our tool paths, we are going to have a safety zone. So in the safety zone, we simply access it by going into the parameters of that tool path. In the parameters of that tool path, you will see a safety zone as an option. Safety zone is turned on just by a simple click right next to the words safety zone. This will activate it and use this in its tool path. There's some tool motion options here. We have 5-axis, we have X, Y, and Z as an option depending on your machine. I'm going to be using the 5-axis option on our 5-axis machine. There's angle, step, and use feed rate also as an option if you care to use these and if you need to use these. In this example here, I'm not going to be using them. To define a safety wrapped shape, we simply come down here and go to define shape. By clicking on there, it will allow us to get into our safety zone parameters on the left-hand side of our screen. It has prompted me to select one or more entities. It wants to know what we should wrap for our safety zone. I'm simply going to click on the part and end selection. Once I end selection, automatically I'm going to see a wrapped part. A good way to look at this is like the part is being saran wrapped, and this is going to be our safety zone. Now we have some other options here. We could also do a silhouette boundary, and that's going to give us a little bit different boundary around that part. In this case here, I want to minimize the retracts on our transition move, so I'm going to use the wrap function using minimum volume. So as I can see, it saran wraps my part. Now my drill will follow this boundary back and forth as it transitions around this 5-axis part. You do have the options to put on additional offset here, and that will thicken out this wrapped geometry to give you maybe a little bit more room around that part if you are a little uneasy about it. In this case here, I'm just going to leave it at 50 thousandths. Once I green check out of here, and green check out of my toolpath, I will have to regenerate my toolpath to see the difference. Once I regenerate my toolpath, we'll go back into machine simulation so you can compare to what we just seen to our new process here of the transition moves following the wrap. So here's the next toolpath that we just processed. So as we go along here and start drilling this part, you'll see that our transition moves are forcing that down following that wrapped shape. Especially here as it rotates up, you'll see that the tool follows that part. It never comes all the way up to its high retract planes. Follows that up and follows that down, maintaining that wrapped surface as its safety boundary. I highly recommend you start using these new tools in Mastercam 2021. They put them in there for safety and also for time savings. These are some great tools, and I absolutely love the wrap option they added in our tool pack.
I certainly hope that you can utilize the wrap functions we talked about today. We're constantly making new YouTube videos to optimize your Mastercam experience. So I hope you check back often and frequently, and we do appreciate you watching our videos.